Chapter 2, Lesson 8. 10 is 25% of what number? So this first method I'm going to show is the number line method. So the first number line is going to be my percent number line. And I'm going to start with 25%. So I'm going to start with 0. And then 25%. And I'm going to increase each one by 25%. So 25 plus 25 is 50. And 50 plus 25 is 75. And 75 plus 25 is 100%. The next line I'm going to start with 10. So 0, 10, and I'm going to increase each line by 10. 10, 20, 30, 40. So it's important that you keep the lines on each number line together. So we can see that 100% would be 40. So my answer would be 10 is 25% of 40. So if you had a test with 40 questions and you only got 10 right, your percent would be 25%. Here we have 15 is 30% of what number? We're going to use proportions. So we're going to have 15 over a number that we don't know what it is, because that's the number we're looking for. And 30%, a percent is always out of 100. So we're looking for this number here. So what we're going to do is see that 15, how do we change 15 to a 30? Times it by 2. So 15 times 2 is 30. So what number times 2 equals 100? And that would be 50. So 15 is 30% of 50. So if you had a 50-point question test and you got 15 right, you would have a 30%. And then again, the other way to figure this out is to divide. First thing you want to do is change your percent to a decimal. And then you're going to divide 15 divided by 0.30 or 0.3. So before we can do this, we go back to what we learned in 5th grade when we divide decimals. The decimal on the outside we have to get rid of it. So we're going to move this over one place. So that's just going to become a 3. And we move our decimal, which is behind the 15, one place, which means we have to add a 0. So now we have 150 divided by 3. And 3 goes into 15 5 times. And you have a 0 that you bring down, and 3 goes into 0 0 times. And we get 50. So 15 is 30% of 50. So using the division problem is the other way, which I feel is the easiest way to figure out these problems. So we have number 1 and number 2. We did number 1 in class. Number 2, we're using a number line. So our percent that we're using is 25. So we're going to start our number line at 0. And then we're going to go 25%, 50%, 75, and 100. And then our number is starting with 90. So 90. And then the next number is going to be a multiple of 90, so 180. Because 90 plus 90 is 180. And then 180 plus 90 is 270. And 270 plus 90 is 360. So 100% would be 360. And there's what it looks like. 90 is 25% of what number? 360. And then number 1 we did in class. We started with 0%, then we went with 20 and increased it by 20 all the way across. And started with 0 and then went with 40 and increased by 40 all the way across. This is actually their homework that they had to do today. We did number 1 in class. Here is number 2. 80 is 25% of what number? So again, I'm going to start with 0, 25%, 50, 75, 100, and then I'm going to start with 80 and increase it by 80. So 80 plus 80 is 160. 160 plus 80 is 240. And 240 plus 80 is 320. So 80 is 25% of 320. And there's what number 1 looks like that we did in class, which was a little bit more difficult, and number 2. Number 3, 22 is 44% of what number? I could make a fraction out of it. 22 equals 44% over 100. And I can see that 22 times 2 is 44. Or I could say 44 divided by 2 equals 22. So the only number that's going to, what number times 2 equals 100, and that would be 50. Or I can say 100 divided by 2 equals 50. So for number 3, the answer is 50. For that problem, I could also do my division. Change 44% to 0.44. And 22 divided by 0.44. Move this over 2 times. Move my decimal over 2 times. So now it's 2200 divided by 44. 422 goes 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 2 is 22. Bring down my other 0, and 44 into 0 goes 50. Number 7, 8, and 9, using the table, it says if you have 3 cups of pineapple juice, how many total cups of punch can you make? So pineapple juice is 20%. So we're going to change that to a decimal. And we're going to divide 3 divided by 0.20. But this is just going to be 0.2. And that's what 20% is as a decimal. So I move this over 1. And I add a 0 and add my decimal point over 1. So my problem is actually going to be 30 divided by 2. 2 into 3 goes 1 time. 2 into 10 goes 5 times. So my answer will be 15 cups. Number 8, how many cups of sorbet are used in 8 cups of punch? So again, we're going to change this to 0.15 and divide it by 0.15. So I move my decimal point over 2 times, add a 0, 2 zeros, and add this over, move this over 2 times. So now it's going to be 800 divided by 15. Okay, then we go back to number 8. That's not what they're asking. They are asking how many cups of sorbet are used in 8 cups of punch. So we're going to go back and do what we did in lesson 7. 15% of 8. So we're trying to see what is 15% of 8, which means we're going to change 15% to a decimal. Of means times. We're going to times that by 8, and you're going to get 1.2. Number 11, you're just making up your own problem. Write a percent proportion where the part and the whole are known. Solve this problem to find the percentage. So, for example, let's say 21 out of 24. Sorry, 21 out of 25. Make it easier. And it has to equal 100 on the bottom. So we know that 25 times 4 is 100. So 21 times 4 would be 84. So that's kind of how you do number 11. You can make up your own problem, or feel free to use the one I did for you. Number 13, the purity of gold is listed in carats. Refer to the table. If a necklace is 75% gold, what carat is it? Explain your reasoning. So this is going back to what we did before. We're going to change 75% to a decimal, and we're going to multiply that by 24. And you're going to come up with 18, which would be 18 carats. So number 13 is asking, what is 75% of 24? So of means multiplying. 75% is, change that to a decimal, and we're going 0.75 times 24, and we get 18 carats.